Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. And this is a Mott, it is nice outside. Is it hot? Is it a little too hot?
It's warm, but it's so
It's
beautiful.
nice, right? I mean, I don't know. Everybody's complaining about the heat on the East Coast. I, for one, like it's summer. What do you want?
Well, Saturday was awful, though.
It was too hot for you? You were
No,
sweating?
it was too humid.
It is very humid here. I was in Vermont with the VaynerMedia team, so, I was playing volleyball. Dominating, just saying. This week is going to be phenomenal. Mainly because I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I've not done this. As we all know and have recognized, we have been on a roll. Right, Mott? We've been on a roll. How about the highlight reel?
Jeff did a great job.
Jeff did a phenomenal job. Jeff, big shout out to you. And I will be picking winners from the quote contest. People that follow me on Twitter will understand what I'm talking about tomorrow. I will find some time tomorrow. I will announce them on my Twitter. We'll give away a couple congratulations. Speaking of contests, you can do a little twist around. It's okay. Jimmy's in the house. Little contest winner. Right? Were you backing out from the camera? Just want to make sure. Jess is in the building taking pictures. Jess, right behind you. Oh, Jess makes an appearance. So that'll be the clicking noise. And we're going to be tasting wines this week. So we can confirm that I'm on a streak, right? That this is a great run. It's a refocus, right? The lack of, I think too many guests, too many choppy up and down. We're just back to basics. Some bottles of wine and a boy. Boy meets wine, And so this week I'm focusing on something interesting that I've wanted to do for a very long time, which is talk about wines for some period of length of time. So we're going to do a whole week's worth of shows this week of wines that we think you can find very readily available throughout the country. If you're Minnesota, New York, San Fran, Idaho, Wyoming, I don't care where you are. You go into the supermarket, the state-run alcohol beverage store, PA in New Hampshire, boo. Whatever it may be, you're going to be able to find these wines. And so I think the entire lineup are wines that I think you can find, and that allows us to kind of test our palates because we put a lot of wines in the show that people can't find, Mom. It's what we do. It's how we roll. This is also Monday. Big thing going on at Cinderella Wine. I should give them a shout out. Mott, link that up. They're doing the Turn Back the Clock sale twice a year. They're doing that, and every offer that's been on Cinderella Wine at all is being reoffered at its original Cindy price. So, we never use this as a platform to talk about that and sales or Wine Library. However, I'd be remiss not to. You should definitely check it out. It runs till tomorrow at noon so that you will have a shot. So anyway, that's that. But the real focus, the real excitement are these three wines right here. This is the European little version. So we have German and two French wines that you can find readily available. Let's go with the first wine. I'm actually excited to try this. This is the Leonard Kreusch 2009 Riesling. Entry-level Riesling 6. Not 16, $6 American dollars. That, my friends, is inexpensive. This is from the Moselle, and let's see what happens. I mean, I don't have insanely high hopes for this wine because it's so darn inexpensive. I mean, Riesling at this price is almost unfathomable, but let's see what happens. Let's give it a sniffy sniff because that's what we do. And there's a little bit of that, sugar cane, apple thing going on, which is quite common. Doesn't come across to me as so shockingly worse on the nose than many Rieslings. Actually, kind of, first thought as I smelled the wine was, $2 chuck, right? It's like, when I was tasting those wines, and we did those once. Mott, did you ever see my hair in that episode? We might have to bring that episode back. Ridiculous. You guys know what I'm talking about? It was like Spike City, USA. Anyway, those wines weren't great, and some of them were pretty difficult, but for $3, they were quite serviceable, and a lot of them taste like $10 wine. That's the first thought that came across here, like, $15 nose, $12 nose, not, $6. So interesting. Let's give it a whirl. Now, Leonard Kreusch is a supplier, an actual importer of wines, carries an enormous amount of different wines, and is a distributor here in New Jersey, maybe in other states, not quite sure about that. But this is probably made in a co-op. They went out and sourced it, probably made for them by one of their suppliers. Don't know the entire backstory. They went with the marketing play of the blue bottle. obviously, if you turn back the clock 10 years, the Luna de Luna phenomenon with that Pinot Grigio Chard blend with the Blue Bottle was a big smashing hit in the States. So the Blue Bottle, marketing play, obviously at this very inexpensive price point, but the wine is kind of okay-ish. I mean, it really tastes a little bit like an imaginary blend of Mott's apple juice and a hint of a floral component, maybe like a dandelion with that. Aren't dandelions weeds actually? But like dandelion, kind of like yellow flowers come to mind, and it's just simple. Let me rephrase. It's ridiculously simple. I'm talking like vanilla, a piece of white paper, the clear blue sky. Simple, but there's some charm in that. Charm and simplicity. Apple thinks so, and so I think it's an okay wine. It's probably an 80. 70, anywhere between 77 and 80. I'm going to go 78 point wine. So obviously it's not anything to like really go run out. However, at this inexpensive price point, on the porch with your friends, it doesn't kill me. It's not the worst thing I've ever had. It's not appalling by any stretch of imagination. A little hint of sugar. It might be nice, so not bad. Not a bad start, but definitely not something that's stolen the show. Now this is going to be very interesting. This is one of my all-time favorite wines for a very interesting reason. This is the 2008 Louis Jadot Pouilly-Fuissé. Now Pouilly-Fuissé is in Burgundy. It's an amazingly interesting area that makes really nice white wines made from 100% Chardonnay, which is what this is. Pouilly-Fuissé is probably one of my favorite categories because when I was in the store and I was growing up in it, and I was 18, 19, 20, that range, 21, and I was a punk kid, knew a lot about wine, and was always so disrespected when somebody would come to the store and I'd ask them if they wanted help and they didn't want my help, because I always knew that it was being age discriminated against. Now, they were right. I wasn't really drinking the wine. I was reading a whole lot. So, I would get hurt, and, like any scrappy immigrant, you put me in a corner, I'm coming out swinging. So what I would do, which wasn't proper, kids don't try this at home, was the second that somebody would upset me by shooing me off and trying to go to somebody older in the store that didn't know as much about wine, just saying, I would then begin to systematically blueprint on how to humble them. And so, Pouilly-Fuissé became my secret weapon, because I would often say to people, are you looking for some Chardonnay, what have you, and or any kind of direction in that sphere. Somebody would say, I need a Chardonnay recommendation, or I only drink Pouilly-Fuissé, but can you give me some other recommendations? And my angle would always be this. 80% of wine customers 10 years ago did not know that Pouilly-Fuissé was Chardonnay. They thought Pouilly-Fuissé was the grape, not the place. There was a lot of lack of knowledge, and there's still plenty of people watching right now who are like, ooh, good to know. Got it. Text myself. So literally somebody would come in and say, I'm a big fan of Pouilly-Fuissé. Can you show me a different one besides Louis Jadot? And I would say, sure, let me just take you in a little bit of a different direction. How about this Sleepy Hollow Vineyard Chardonnay? And they would freak. Don't you understand? I don't drink Chardonnay. I drink Pouilly-Fuissé. And then the moment that I've always looked for would come, and I would say, dear sir, I don't know if you know this, you may want to, that, Pouilly-Fuissé is 100% Chardonnay. And then you would have the moment. And that was a lot of fun for me. Or people that always drank Simi Chard or KJ Chard, and I'd come over and be like, oh, here's a Pouilly-Fuissé you can drink. Like, oh, I don't know, I'm really a Chardonnay guy. Again, Strike Force, you'd be able, Tito Santana, and who was Tito Santana's? Rick Martel? That's who it was. Strike Force Mott. Circa 1985, tremendous tag team. I think they were even tag team champions. Very good. Sorry. So, Pouilly-Fuissé, 100% Chardonnay. Louis Jadot, one of the biggest Pouilly-Fuissés, but very much the yellowtail, the Kendall Jackson of the category. The big name probably makes, I would begin to bet, I'd be willing to make a big bet, makes the most Pouilly-Fuissé in the world, and it's a negotiant. But Louis Jadot should not be disrespected. They do make a lot of quality wine. So this is very much, with preconceived notions coming to the table, very much a roll of the dice. I'm very curious to see if this is going to be good, bad, horrible. I'm very, very curious. I'm excited. I'm literally excited to taste this wine. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. So the first thing that comes across that I'm excited about is, it's got a little butter and a little oak, but not overbearing and over the top, not, obnoxious by any stretch of the imagination. It's $19, so right away, Mott, as you know, Keyshawn Johnson, one of my favorite Jets of all time, we're number 19, so I'm already going to probably score this wine 1 point higher. I should mention that to the crowd. Apples, pears, green fruit coming through, a little star fruit maybe even. Yeah, on the nose, I like that. Let's give it a whirl. Again, not over the top, oaky and buttery. Good start. Interesting. Started with an initial kind of like flirtiness of like mustard, believe it or not. Almost like a brown mustard kind of play right off the initial attack. Then you get into ripe banana on the mid palate. Then it gets sharp. Acidity plus alcohol on the back end perk you up a little bit, wakes you up. No more coffee in the morning. Go Jadot Pouilly-Fuissé. A little more expensive. Actually, I don't know. Actually, probably not much more expensive than coffee these days. Good structure. I don't like the way this wine finishes. I like the way it starts, recognizing that mustard-covered bananas are probably not at the top of the list of people's exciting flavor profiles. I would say that would probably not be as popular as it could be. I'm enjoying it. Kind of think it's intriguing flavor profile, but it's okay. To me, this is an 84-point wine. 84 points at $19 is not going to excite me, him, her, them, or probably you. And so I will say this wine is a pass. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was kind of getting excited. Middle, it kind of fell apart, became kind of blah, average. So it went from kind of good, because I like the initial flavor, to average in the mid palate to like not a good finish. So kind of going down the steps instead of climbing them. And if you think about steps, climbing them, good for you, makes you feel good. Down, I always think of like people tripping and getting hurt. So that's going down the steps, not excited, and I give this a pass. Might you ever fall downstairs?
Of course.
What do you mean, of course? Like truly fall downstairs?
Well, not like total klutz-wise, but...
But like 4 steps?
Yeah.
But like I'm talking like from top to bottom?
No.
Okay. Jess?
My sister has.
Yeah, my sister too. That's actually why I brought it up.
She hit a door.
She went downstairs and hit the door?
Yeah.
And went out the door?
No, like there was a door at the end of our stairs at the time, and
Yeah.
just hit the door.
That's literally what happened to my sister. She was trying to be a big girl in Edison circa 1987. She was probably 8. She put on my mom's heels, tried to walk down, no shot, all the way down, literally just as like my friend Eric Godfrey came to the house. We were just standing literally in the hall still. She came down, crashed all into the door. Was she okay?
Yeah, she was okay. She was a little hurt.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
I also found my situation hilarious. All right, let's move on. Parallel 45. Great package change by Paul Jaballet. I want to give a big shout out to them. I like the design where they went with this. 07, Parallel 45, Cote de Rhone, $8 US, 60% Grenache, 40% Syrah. This rolls in at $14 US. This is a very, very good year in the Rhone Valley, 07. When you get great vintages like 07, probably best since 98, and you get wines at this price point, $8, you start getting excited. Paul Jaballet, one of the great producers of wines, his Hermitage is legendary, and you can get his entry-level wine, Parallel 45, which also has a tremendous track record. As a, again, you're probably going to see these wines $8. Probably a lot of you are paying 10 and 11 in, supermarkets, and that's fine. But it's good value-driven wine. I'm excited to try this as well. I really enjoyed the 04. 05 was the last time I think I had it. Didn't like it as much, so it'll be fun to see where this is progressing. Again, wines that you can find. These are, if you can't find these wines, you're going to need to leave a comment, because I really need to understand. Sniffy sniff. So I'm getting a little bright cherry on the nose right off the bat. And there's a little smokiness, a little kind of smokiness. What's the best way to put this? This exact one. There's a little sulfury kind of component going on in the nose. Match, charcoal, barbecue. Let's give it a whirl. kind of gamey. Black licorice. What was that? Wow. I felt like I just turned into like Sylvester the cat. Black licorice is the flavor profile that most excites me on this wine. Comes across really strong, dominates the mid palate for me. Great little chocolate covered strawberry and cherry flavors come through as well. It's kind of gamey in the mid palate. This is actually quite enjoyable. This is where it gets interesting to me. This is a wine that I would never buy. Just let's call a spade a spade. I just think it's commodity. I think it's out there. But I don't know if there aren't a lot of people that would not just be extremely happy on a Wednesday night popping this at 8 Bones with their pizza watching Dancing with the Stars. I mean, that to me is Americana. That to me is where I want to see people drinking wine instead of just another beer or some soda or, water. It's inexpensive. I mean, this is $7.50. I mean, get 6 servings, 6 glasses, 4 glasses, depending on how you pour. But, at $8, I mean, literally this is less expensive than coffee. Literally. And then some bottled waters. I mean, you get into that. And to me, that's kind of interesting. We're at least in the same ballpark. How many Poland Springs? How much is it a Poland Spring little bottle? What is it, like a $400?
$1.50. Oh.
Go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say $1.50, $2.
For what? Like, how big is it, though? 16 ounce? This is where I don't know how many ounces are in a 750 milliliter. This would help. But, I mean, literally, this is getting to the ballpark of bottled water, and this is far more interesting to me. And the wine is really showing well. This is a really good value. I'm going to go 87 points on this, which I think is remarkable for $8. I think it shows dramatically more complexity than I thought. I thought this was going to be very possibly a strawberry water kind of play, kind of thin, little strawberry flavors because of the Grenache. But this has little black pepper, little beef jerky, and a little wine that goes a long way. To me, this is perfect Wednesday night wine. That was W. Wednesday night wine. And I highly recommend you go try it. Especially the 07 vintage. Make sure you look for 07. Don't get caught with the 06. Though I'm not quite sure I didn't have, but the 07 is just a much better vintage. I would predict that it's showing better. There you have it, Mott. Not bad. Not bad for commodity Europe. We'll see how it stands up against commodity Australia, commodity Chardonnay, commodity Cabernet. I think it's going to be a very interesting week on the show. Maybe not the most killer week for the wine nerds looking for that next thing, but definitely for the CKCs. Give a little big shout out to the CKCs, college, kid, crew. I know Virginia Tech is stepping up. As a matter of fact, little side question today. If you're watching and you are part of the CKCs going into college, you should be watching with the intent of one day drinking wine. But if you're in college or just fresh out of college, how many colleges out there, how many of you are in the midst of wine programs or have a wine program? Just a little curious. Got a great email about that the other day. The regular question of the day, the real question of the day, the main question of the day, not the real, I mean that was real too, but the broad, to the rest of the audience, all of the audience, question of the day is this. What is your favorite supermarket wine? Just that pure commodity wine, the wine that you feel all 50 states should be available to get, and which one of those wines are you actually drinking? Don't be shy, don't be scared, don't feel bad if it's KJ Chard, or if it's Yellowtail Shiraz, or if it's Bola Bardolino, or Franzi in a bag. This is a safe zone. Safe. You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine.